We are learning more and more, Pat, about ex-MI6 officer Christopher Steele, who is the individual believed to have prepared the memos claiming that Russia had this blackmail file on President-elect Donald Trump. The U.S. President-elect, of course, said it's fake news, phony stuff, none of it exists, but we are now learning about the high credibility of Christopher Steele. BBC News correspondent Paul Woods said he understood that Mr. Steele is not only considered to be highly credible, but that he actually left his home in the middle of last week before he was publicly named and is now in hiding for fear of his life. He reportedly asked his neighbor to look after his 3 cats when he left with his family. The BBC correspondent said he had been shown the memos about Trump in October of last year when Steele was already fearing for his life. Of course, Donald Trump blackmailed the dossier to Nazi propaganda, fake news spread by sick people. Here's an important question I've been sort of thinking about over the long weekend, Pat. If it's all so hard to believe and it's a stretch and it's way out there, why did the intelligence community decide it was serious and reliable enough to brief both Obama and Trump? And again, this doesn't tell us anything about the content of the material, but clearly they thought it was serious enough to brief them. And yet we still see the Trumpists acting like nothing's going on.
I think it's just easier to reject these claims altogether rather than digging into the weeds of what's actually going on in these allegations.
Yeah.
That's when you really start to get into some trouble.
And Steele has been caricatured as some partisan hack, but we now are hearing from one intelligence source who says Steele is very credible, that he's sober, he's cautious, he's meticulous, he has a formidable record. A former Foreign Office official who has known Steele for 25 years said the idea that his work is fake or a cowboy operation is false. The American intelligence community is taking this seriously. We now have heard confirmation from both DNI Clapper and John Brennan, CIA director, that indeed Trump was briefed on it. There's no fake news here, is there? And again, fake news is different from Trump likes urinating on women, right? I mean, we're not talking about the specifics of the file. We're saying the idea that the entire briefing is fake, that the existence of the dossier is fake, it's 0% believable.
And I think that's what goes to the idea that Christopher Steele would be on the run here. He's one of the biggest experts when it comes to Russia in this section of British intelligence. And you've seen what the U.S. and the U.K. do to people who leak information.
Yes, you have.
Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, Chelsea Manning.
Right.
So this is just in the best interest of his own safety.
Yeah, we have to be paying attention to that as well. That's a really good point.